So another day on this earth, and if there's one thing that can be counted on, is that Twitter will always try and cancel people. And one of the more recent targets was Fitz, who is a very popular streamer slash YouTuber. So what did Fitz do that would warrant him being the target of a Twitter cancellation? Well, he was recently streaming in the Epic SMP server, which is created by Matt Watson. Now, the fact that he was streaming would suggest that he probably said some no-no word on Twitch. Now, before I tell you what it is, would anyone care to place a wager on what word he said? Maybe the dreaded N word or the no word for gay people, aka that F word? Those seem like the standard go to for getting in trouble while streaming. But it turns out Fitz said the dreaded R slur on stream was the R word, meaning someone who is physically slash mentally disabled.
Bitch.
Another's pretty
How do I
awesome.
make an anvil? I'm retarded. Shit, what am I actually doing? I'm retarded. Can I say that? Are they gonna get mad at me on Twitter?
As you can see here, what an offensive thing to say. I honestly cannot believe how retarded Fitz is being. Just saying the retard word so freely. What the fuck? Like, let's be real here. The outrage here just makes no sense and is blown way out of proportion. Because it basically got to the point where Fitz got trending on Twitter with a description talking about how people were mad slash freaking out because he said a slur while playing Minecraft. This description makes it look like Fitz said the N-word when it's not even that bad and is greatly over-exaggerated. Honestly, with all the people freaking out over this, I expected at least for him to say the N-word or the F-word, because at least then the outrage would be understandable. Like, I could see why people would be mad if he used those words. But however, he did not even say those words. He just said retard. Like, saying the R slur has a very big difference between the N word or the F word. They are simply not comparable to each other. It would be like comparing stubbing your toe to being stabbed. It's just disappointing that people are now reaching to cancel people over some mild word usage now. And even putting aside that fact, the main usage of retard has been used to mean dumb or stupid at this point in time, which means that the word has been watered down heavily to the point of where it has held practically none of its original power, and the fact that people are just trying to make retard become the new N-word is honestly just disappointing to me, because by doing so, you are just giving a word more power than it should have. Why would you want to try and make something much worse than it already is? I swear that people just want things to be offended by so they can complain about it on social media and get brownie points. And before someone says that you can still use words like dumb, stupid, or idiot to describe, well, dumb people, let's say, alright, retard becomes the new N-word for disabled people, and anyone who uses it gets crucified by the public. Now, it's only a matter of time before those words become another slur to add to the list. Now, while I can understand if you use the R word in a demeaning way towards someone disabled, how it can be bad, however, it is clear that Fitz is just joking around with his friends slash talking to himself in the clip provided, and that they are all cool with it and there is no offense taken. So I don't really see the purpose of getting offended when no one else is. When this initially came out, there were some replies to this. First off, we got someone saying how bold it was of Fitz to say the R word on a server with neurodivergent creators. Now, I find that statement to be pretty interesting because I've checked like some of the other people on the SMP server and couldn't find any of them who were angry because of Fitz's statement. Furthermore, on the SMP server, Fitz had to be invited onto it to even play there, and it is well known that Fitz has edgier humor compared to the average content creator. So if he was invited onto the server, it means either A, they need to vet people better, or B, it's clearly not an issue for anyone there and they can take his humor. They also wanted Fitz banned off Twitch for saying retard, which is laughable, especially when you consider that if Twitch actually enforced that rule, they would have to ban all of their other top streamers too. There's another tweet where someone tries to say how while Fitz could make these jokes, there are consequences to making them, which is a fair point. Everything has consequences after all. However, it is unreasonable to try and get someone taken off the internet over a joke you didn't like. People are just reaching hard and getting overtly offended when the situation isn't even that bad. Fitz honestly had a good response where he acknowledges that while this is true, people fail to take context and intent behind the situation, so the outrage appears to only be short lived for some social media attention. He also brings up the point where he says that people will need to disengage with content, which is true because online there will always be things that you will run across that you don't like, and we spend time trying to rage and get it taken down. That is simply impractical and inefficient compared to just ignoring it. And judging from Fitz's previous content and actions, it's pretty obvious that he doesn't really care about the whole thing, as evidence from his old tweet where he says that he's made a lot of offensive jokes in general and he doesn't regret most of them at all. This cancellation isn't even going to affect him in any way, definitely. And even his more recent tweet shows that he doesn't really care and he'll still make those jokes, especially where he tweets out, "I hope we can live in a world someday where no one can say anything at all," clearly being sarcastic over the whole situation. But I think Fitz had a great response where he says that he's actually mad progressive and loving how his probably already on their side anyways, even though they're pressed, which I think is a great response. Like, you can be a good person who can still make these kinds of jokes because these jokes aren't what define you. I'd honestly say your actions matter more than your words. And besides, comedy is subjective, and what someone may find offensive, someone else may find funny, which is okay. There are many different kinds of people in this world, and you can't control them all. To add insult to injury to the cancellation attempt, Fitz actually gained much more followers than he normally would have at 8 times their rate. It's almost like being petty and reaching out to cancel people for no reason other than social media brownie points only backfires and gives the opposite effect of popularizing that person even more. Overall, I feel like this whole thing is just these Minecraft viewers slash Twitter users being much more sensitive and getting outraged over small things that shouldn't even matter without looking at intent or context, and being outraged for the sake of being outraged in order to gain social media likes, instead of just taking a logical route and just ignoring content they don't like. They need to learn that the world doesn't revolve around them and that there will always be things that people don't like, and to just ignore it. I feel like these new Minecraft viewers watch people like Dream, who are incredibly child friendly, and when they view an edgier content creator, they don't know what to do and get mad, like they can't accept that there's other types of people with different styles of humor out there. I don't know how people can be so outraged nowadays when only a few years ago, stuff like what Fitz said was the norm. Like, overall, I could say that this whole situation is retarded. That's all I have to say. See ya.
Oh,